Hello, and thank you for joining me here on In the Thick of It. I am your host, Amanda Thickk, adult performer and intimacy pro, and I thought it would be really fun to kick off this first solo episode of In the Thick of It with answering your questions that you send me every freaking day. So I have a list of 10 questions here, and I'm going to go through them. So by the end of this, you're going to have a better idea of who I am, what I'm doing here, what am I going to be talking about on In the Thick of It. This is very much about my business perspectives, my personal perspectives, just more of me altogether. And in the end, I'll let you know more of what you can expect in future episodes. So the first question I get asked more than any other question: are you married? And because that's the most popular question, I'm going to go ahead and answer it at the end. So question number 2. How did you get into this? So I have to back up a little bit to give you the backstory. My background is massage therapy. And when COVID hit, my business really slowed way down. My only clients were essential workers, or people were just afraid to leave their houses, didn't want to be touched. And so my income shriveled up and died. And so I had to make a plan. I decided I'm going to leave California. I moved to Vegas. But I still had to make a living. And so I started trying to get new clients in Vegas. And one of the first clients I got turned out to be a producer. And he was like, you got to get on the fan sites. You'd be great. You have this whole massage thing that you're doing for real. This is kind of like a fantasy for people. And I was just like, I'm a parent. That's just not for me. Thank you anyway. But then I thought about it. I had enough income to get us through for maybe 2 months. And I didn't really know how fast I was going to be able to build up my private clientele. And so at that point, I thought, you know what, if it's a fan site and it's kind of a closed site, it's not like it's on the hub or anything, maybe it wouldn't be so bad. So I set up the account. I took his advice. He said, I'm going to promote you. I'm going to, send people to you. I'm going to put your name out there. And I was like, great. I had no idea that it would just blow up. Right time, right place. The craziest part to me is that so many other things that I'd tried didn't really take off or just flat out failed. And so to finally have huge success in the adult industry, I thought, this is really weird. What is happening here? This is weird, but it's exciting. And so for my fans who were there from the very beginning, they've seen this entire arc. They've seen this, me just kind of being blown away by all the things that were happening. And it was my mentor, Kyle Balls, who brought me in, taught me the ropes, introduced me to some professionals. And from there, I built the relationships myself and networked and got to where I am. So that's how I got in. Question number 3, what did you do before you got into the industry? Well, I just touched on that. I've done massage therapy for what feels like a million years, but it's more like 25 years. I say that, and I know there's some people listening who are not even 25. I just dated myself. I've done a million other things though. I'm trying to think of all the jobs. I was in retail for many, many years. Every job I ever had, I ended up in management somehow. I worked in grocery stores. I worked in music stores. I worked with kids. I was a nanny. I was like a daycare worker. I loved working with kids actually, but I took a break for a while because I thought, okay, until I'm having my own kids, I don't want any more. I don't want to deal with any more. So I took a break until I had my own. So yeah, I've done so many different things. I actually wanted to be a teacher and was in school for that. Ended up just diving full on with massage. And I was doing well enough in that it didn't really make sense to switch careers. I actually also considered medical school because when I was in massage school, I discovered that I had a really good knack for anatomy and physiology and really kind of looked into medical schools. But I have a more holistic approach to healing and health and wellness and those sorts of things. And so it wasn't really a good fit for me. So fast forward, look at me now. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Number 4, what has surprised you about the industry? I didn't have a lot of ideas of what the industry was before I got involved. I didn't really watch a lot of content. I wasn't really in that world. So I didn't have kind of this idea of what it was supposed to be or what it was rumored to be. So what has surprised me about it is that I have only encountered truly kind and loving people. Now, are there the outliers and the guys that are, less desirable, so to speak? Yes, those characters are in every industry. Thankfully, in my experiences, they are in the minority. So I thankfully only have to deal with the people that I want to deal with. And if I don't want to deal with them, I just don't work with them. So I'm in a position to make decisions about what I will do, what I won't do. And it's been very empowering in that way because I don't have to do what I don't want to do, which is awesome. So it's nice to be in an industry where everybody's putting themselves out there in a really vulnerable way. And so we all have that same empathy with each other of what it's like to go through that and still have people kind of hate on you for it. And so there's like a camaraderie. So even if you don't know everyone in the industry, even if you don't have besties around you, it's still kind of an understood communal experience. Number 5, do people in your life or your family know what you do and what do they think about it? I get this question a lot. The short answer is yes, they know. I have a very big family, so does everybody know? Probably not, but my immediate family, they all know. I don't think they care. I have family members who are very supportive. I think they've stopped watching adult content because they don't want to accidentally see me, which I appreciate. So, yeah, they're like, hey, are you happy? Are you providing for your family? Like, good, then good for you. Rock on with your bad self kind of a thing. They're supportive. They don't really understand, but then they do because they know that I'm just not like everyone else. So I actually have a very close, he's, I guess, a friend, but I almost look at him as a brother. And when I went to tell him what I was up to, I said, yeah, you're not going to believe what I've been doing. And he guessed it. He guessed. He's like, oh, you're doing this now. And I was like, how do you know this? He's like, I've known you since forever. How do you? So the signs were there? I don't know. It surprised me. Basically, everybody in my real personal life who has found out what I do now are all kind of shocked. Like, what? Yeah. They're all shocked. We're shocked because they mostly know now. But they're not that shocked because it's like, yeah, you. So, but I only get support, so it's great. What helped your confidence the most that people wouldn't expect? I have a little story with this one. I have basically been plus size most of my life. I've had periods of time, there was like 10 years where I was much smaller than this. Just haven't managed to get back to that after my second child. And I was working in a plus size clothing store. And at the time, I was really hard on myself because of my weight. I felt like I was ugly. I felt like nobody would ever want to date me because I was big. I didn't have a lot of confidence because of my weight. One day I was working in this plus size clothing store and these women came in to shop. And I remember this one woman in particular, never knew her name. And she wore the largest size we carried in the store. She was a very, very, very big woman. And she was stunningly beautiful. She had her hair done, her nails done, her makeup, the way she wore her clothes were like really sexy and really beautiful. And I remember kind of being awestruck by this woman because I'd never really seen a woman, especially of her size, who was just like really invested in looking so beautiful. She was really like put together. And I was so kind of mesmerized by her. And I was like, wow, she's so pretty. Like, wow. And I had to reflect on that for myself because I thought, okay, if I'm not beautiful because I'm a chunky monkey and she's beautiful despite being a chunky monkey, what kind of lies am I telling myself? What kind of bullshit am I feeding to myself? I think she's beautiful. If I can think that she's beautiful and she's even way bigger than me, then why can't I think I'm beautiful? And that little reality check hit me really hard. And frankly, I believe that that was the moment that really changed the trajectory for me in my confidence. It was a big reality check for me to realize I've been lying to myself, and that changed everything for me. Number 7, how do you separate professional and home life? I'm very much the same in my professional life as I am at home in the sense of my personality, in my sense of humor, in my sense of adventure. Like, I just always want to have fun. So keeping the line between one and the other, my personality is the same. I just have to function differently in each space. So in the modeling space, it's putting something on and being sexy. And at home, it's like, time to wash dishes and like, let's get it done. Same intensity, different act, right? Washing dishes is so much less fun, but it still has to be done. So I don't know. I don't really have a hard time with it. The hardest part for me is flipping the switch. So for example, I think I have a little ADHD, so I struggle with like switching focus and transitioning too much. I think a lot of people do. And being able to really hyper focus on one thing, I can do that for a period of time. But when somebody pulls me away for something else, like I'm hungry, I need this, I need help with my homework, like whatever. When those things come up, I have to kind of shut down my focus so I can switch gears. That is really hard for me to do, but I just have to. It's one of those things where you don't really have a choice, so you just do it. I do my best to schedule things in a way that makes sense. So on the days that I do adult work, I just focus on adult work. When on the days that I'm doing home stuff, I just want to focus on home stuff. I try not to flip back and forth between it too frequently. Otherwise, it's really difficult to, activate those different parts of my brain. So I just have boundaries. I have to have boundaries. That's the best way that I can pull it off. Number 8, what's your biggest pet peeve? Oh my gosh. Okay. If you see me in public, please don't do this. My biggest pet peeve that I can think of is when people listen to music without headphones in public spaces. It drives me bananas. All I want to do is carry around an extra set of headphones everywhere I go and then hand them out to the dumbasses who just don't get that I don't want to listen to your stuff. I don't want to listen to it. put on headphones. I've actually had like very contentious interactions with people because they don't want to put on headphones and I don't want to hear their stupid shit. The most recent one was on a plane and I was stuck next to this guy who he's like watching a video and I just said, you got headphones for that? And he got really mean and nasty with me. So I got really mean and nasty back. But I've had it too where I was in public spaces and somebody's just blasting their music and I'm just like, I'm not nice about it at all. So please, if I see you in a public place and you're watching a video, you're listening to music, just put on some headphones. I might start carrying around an extra set just for those situations. I'm just so like sound sensitive. I love music. I love any kind of thing that has to do with sound, unless it's unwanted sound, unless it's, what is it? I don't know, just noise interference. Like just stop. Drives me crazy. Number 9. What is one thing you wish were different about the way you look? Oh, this one is a loaded question. The reason I say that is because I think every woman has things on her body that she wishes were different, right? I certainly do. I could sit here and rattle off what parts of my body I don't particularly care for, but I will say this. This body created 2 other human lives. So maybe I can complain about it. And I made 2 humans. So I'm not really going to complain. This thing's a freaking miracle right here. This creates life. So I'm not mad about that. If I were to nitpick on things with my body, sure, I could do that. But before I say anything on that, I will say it's very difficult to be in this industry and anywhere in the public eye and to have a natural body. And it's hard to do that because men will say they like a natural body. They say they prefer a natural body. And then you choose the bodies that have been altered. And I am up against women, and I say I'm up against like it's a competition. That's debatable. It is and it isn't. But the women around me are all getting work done. And then they're the ones getting jobs. They're the ones getting paid. So it makes it hard to be a natural body and be in the public eye. It makes it even harder then to have a lot of confidence and have a natural, imperfect body and be in the public eye. You're just putting your vulnerabilities out there and you're showing your imperfections and you're showing them up against somebody else's absolute perfections because they paid for it. And how do you compete against that? It's like the human brain competing against AI. Which one's going to be smarter? When I'm up against somebody else, let's say it's a company who's hiring and they're looking for talent, they're going to end up going with the girl who has the surgeries, the flatter stomach, the bigger boobs, whatever. So yeah, I could tell you, I want a tummy tuck. I want a boob job. I want whatever. I'll get a facelift one day. Who knows? I don't know. My point is that it would be really easy to do that, and I'm not against doing it. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll end up with a surgery one of these days, but for now, I'm in my natural body. It does make you feel a little bit inferior because there are times where I have been passed over for other talent who had bodies that were, artificially created. So it's kind of a bummer at times. Good luck being a natural body and succeeding in this like modeling world. But I'm still here, so, I'm trying to hang in there. Number 10, what are you most proud of? Okay, well, the first thing that comes to mind is my kids. I don't talk too much about them publicly. I'm not going to go into detail, but what am I most proud of? My children. If I were to choose something that's not quite so personal, but it is personal, is the fact that I haven't given up. And what I mean by that is it's really easy to feel like a failure. And I'm not just speaking for myself. I feel like a lot of people in life in general, it's like you work on something, it hasn't worked out. And frankly, the pace of life is so drastically different now that it's really easy to feel like you failed because the standards are changing. Everything is changing. So what we used to measure as success might be obsolete now. It might be totally different. So it's really easy to be like, oh, well, I failed. And I have failed a lot. Way more than I want to admit or talk about. But I also believe that it's not really, really, really a failure if you're still trying. I'm like a professional trier. I try a lot of things. I don't always succeed. I often fail. So to answer the question, what am I most proud of other than my little people is my resiliency and my willingness to keep going, even when I don't want to, even when I've wanted to quit, even when I really almost did quit, even when I just had to slow down because I was going to quit because I was just so like, brah. And so I think a lot of people can understand what that feels like. So if you do know what that feels like and you're going through something, take this as your sign. Don't give up. Maybe you have to pivot. Maybe you need to redirect. Slow down, but don't give up. And I will circle back to the very first question. Are you married? The question that everybody wants to know. No, I'm not. I'm also not dating at the moment either, so sorry, guys. Thank you for listening, guys. And if you have questions for me, if you have situations that you're in, if you want some advice on anything, send those questions to me. Send them to my email inthethickofit@gmail.com. You can find any links here in the notes or in the comments, and I look forward to hearing from you. Until next time.